Okay, class, today we are going to be learning about powers of 10. So we're going to write and evaluate repeated factors in exponent form. And so powers of 10, first we're going to talk about an exponent. And an exponent is the number right above um, each 10. It's right after each 10. So here the exponent would be the 1, the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That little small number to the right up in the corner of the 10 is called the exponent. The exponent represents how many times you're going to multiply the number. So in each one of these powers, we see the number 10 in each one of them, but the exponent is representing how many times we multiply that number. So here I have 10 to the first power, and that's how we say it. It's only a 1. So 10 to the first power is actually just going to give you 10. That's like multiplying 10 times 1. 10 to the second power means multiply the number 10 2 times. So if you look to the right, it shows you 10 times 10. So exponent does not mean you're going to multiply 10 times 2. That is incorrect. Exponent means you're going to multiply the number that many times. So 10 times 10 to the third power is 10 times 10 times 10, because I'm going to multiply the number 10 3 times. And if I multiply 10 times 10 times 10, I get the answer 1,000, because 10 times 10 is 100, and then 100 times 10 equals 1,000. 10 to the fourth power would be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. There are 4 tens. There are 4 tens again. So that means I multiply the number 10 4 times, and I would get 10,000. Okay, so here's a trick to multiplying powers of 10. Anytime you're multiplying a power of 10, basically all you have to do is write down for your answer the number 1, and then however or whatever the exponent is, that's how many zeros you add on the end of it. So I have 10 to the second power. That means I'm going to multiply 10 2 times. And if I was going to write my answer, I could write the number 1, and then I would add 2 zeros because my exponent is 2. And as you see, this answer has a 1 and 2 zeros. So if I multiply 10 to the third power, I know I will write down a 1. But this only works with tens the way I'm explaining. I write down a 1 always first, and then I would add 3 zeros because my exponent is 3. So I would write down my 1 here, and then it has 3 zeros right after it. And this is a trick to multiplying powers of 10. It's as simple as that. So if I have 10 to the sixth power, I would write down the number 1 and tell me how many zeros would I add after I write down my number 1 right here. I would add 6 zeros because my exponent is 6. So I wrote down my number 1, and then I add 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I am writing numbers, so I do have to input my commas where they go. And remember, we always count in sets of threes, because remember, our periods on the place value charts are separated by commas in sets of threes. So I count 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. So 10 to the sixth power equals 1 million. So I showed you on this chart all the way to 10 to the ninth power. And it doesn't matter if you're doing 10 to the 100th power. It's the same thing. You will write down a 1, and then you would add 100 zeros after it if it was 10 to the 100th power. So you do the same thing. When you're doing this in class or for a grade, just make sure you double check how many zeros you added. Check and see what your exponent is. If you see your exponent is 4 and it's 10 to the 4th power, you know you need to have a 1 first and then 4 zeros behind that 1 in your answer. Just like here, I have a 1 and then I have 4 zeros behind that 1 and I count 1, 2, 3, insert my comma, and my answer is 10,000. 10 to the 4th power equals 10,000. Okay, so we're going to review quickly and then I'm going to show you some other problems and then you're going to do some for homework. So again, 10, when we're doing powers of 10, you pay attention to what the exponent is, and remember the exponent is going to be the small number in the top right hand corner after the 10. And then whatever that number is, that's how many zeros you should have to the right of your answer. And I'm just going to show you this one. 10 to the 0 power equals 1. So just remember 10 to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, so 10 to the, let's review, 10 to the 3rd power. I know I need to write a 1 first. If it's to the 3rd power, that means I should have how many zeros to the right of that 1? 3 zeros. So I'll write 3 zeros, insert a comma if I need it, and then that's my answer. So for homework, you're going to do a couple of problems, but I'm going to give you one that's a little harder. So let's try this one. If I have 5 times 10 to the 2nd power, what would that answer be? Sorry, kind of looks crazy. Hold on. Okay, 5 times 10 to the 2nd power. What you do is you are going to multiply, because I added a number in front of the 10 to the 2nd power. I have a 5. So what I want you to multiply is the number and the 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 5. So that's all you do. If there's a number in front of the powers of 10, then you multiply it by the 1 first. So you take the 1 out of the 10, you multiply it by the number. So that's 5 times 1 is 5. And then how many zeros do you need after it? 2, because the exponent is 2. So I'm going to add 2 zeros. So 5 times 10 to the 2nd power equals 500, because 5 times 1 is 5 and 2 zeros after it is 500. So I'm going to write down a few problems for you to do for homework. So solve these problems and then you're going to show them to me in class tomorrow. So I want you to do 6 times 10 to the 3rd power. I want you to do 10 to the 6th power. I want you to do 8 times 10 to the 4th power. 10,000. I want you to tell me what that would be in a power of 10. So you're going to tell me 10 to the blank power for 10,000. And then the last one, I want you to do 1 million. And tell me what that would be in a power of 10. So basically, for 10,000, I want you to tell me 10 to the blank power. I'm not going to tell you. That's the answer. So that concludes our lesson for powers of 10. Make sure you look over this video. If you're having trouble with it, just go ahead, go back, review it, and watch it again. But these are the only problems that I want you to work for homework that I've written over here to the right of the screen in blue. Okay, kids, good luck on your homework and see you in the morning.